for our own benefit. So it's for his glory, because we can see the power of God, the deeper our situation is, but also it's for our good. Why? Because firstly, God in his omniscience, in his wisdom, he knows that certain spiritual disciplines are only fully and truly developed in the midst of battle. Let me say that again. There are certain spiritual disciplines that are only fully and truly developed in the midst of battle and in no other time. Only in the midst of battle. And not when things are easy. And why is that? Because it's very often in the midst of battles that we are forced to develop a life of prayer, is it not? It's in the midst of trials that we are forced to develop a life of prayer, a life of devotion to prayer. It's in the midst of battle that we are forced to depend upon God, and we realize that this world, the foundations of this world are false. When we're going through fires and rivers and waters that threaten to overwhelm us, that is when we run to God. That is when we are forced to pray. That is when we are forced to depend upon God. And we realize that every other foundation that we have depended upon is sand. It's in the midst of battle that we are motivated to walk in holiness, in righteousness. We want to consecrate ourselves and set ourselves apart unto the Lord. Why? Because we want the Lord to move in our situation. We realize that he is holy, and we know that for him to move in our situation, we also have to be holy. So God, in his wisdom, allows difficult seasons. And one of the reasons for that is because he knows that there are certain spiritual disciplines that we are forced to develop because of that situation. Because otherwise he knows that we will not. And that's the case, it's not. Because when things are going well generally, as human beings, we have a habit of forgetting God. When things are well, we have a habit of not really remembering God. When things are going well, when things are fine, we get comfortable about the things of God. Prayer is not so important. Reading the Bible is not so important. Spending time with God is not a priority when things are going well. And that's the truth. We have to look at the situation and be honest with ourselves, you, me, and be honest. When things are going well, we have a habit of forgetting God, forgetting his goodness. Prayer and reading the Bible, spending time with God are not a priority. But what happens? When serious trials and troubles come, what happens? We quickly remember God. Very quickly we remember that there is a God. Very quickly we run to God, we seek him out, we read the word, we pray, we're forced to pray. We're forced to hold on to him and depend upon him. Why? Because now God has our attention. He has our attention, he has our complete and full attention. Because we realize that there is no other source that we can run to, there is no other help that we have, there is nothing else that we can depend on. We come to a point in our lives where we are forced to look up to him. Because he has our attention. When the September 11 terror attacks took place, you know what happened? After the attacks, the churches were jam-packed. Everybody ran to church. When the towers came down and thousands of people died, lost their lives, everybody ran to church. The churches were full and were jam-packed. They were seeking God, they were seeking companionship, they were seeking comfort, and they realized how finite and how short life is. But you know the real tragedy of that is that only lasted a couple of weeks. After a couple of weeks, less than a month, people went back to normal lives. Because when troubles and trials arise, we quickly remember God. When we run to him, we seek him out, and we hold on to him. Because he has our attention. You see, Another reason why God allows seasons of trials and battles that force us to pray is that the greater the battle is, you've got to listen to this, the greater the battle is, the more we appreciate God. The greater the battle is, the deeper the water, the hotter the fire, the more we appreciate God. The greater the battle, the more we appreciate the power of God and the majesty of God, because those battles give us a deeper revelation of His power and His majesty. And after great trials and after great troubles, when God delivers us, you know what? We are less likely to take Him for granted. We're less likely to take our deliverance for granted. Why? Because we paid the price. We had to pray through that situation. We had to fast through that situation. We had to persist in prayer and hold on to the Lord. And that's how it is oftentimes, because the greater the price that we have to pay, the more we value something. The greater the price we have to pay in a situation, the more we value the result. Otherwise, we take it for granted.